I'm good.
Hi,
How are you?
friend. How you doing? I'm good.
Good. Okay,
I'm
so
good. I'm good
could you
as
tell
well.
us a bit about yourself for those who don't know you? What makes you happy? What keeps you going? Yeah, yeah.
Okay, sure. My name is Ayowande. Some people know me as Esther, but I'm Ayowande now. I am a management consultant, sort of an associate, but I work in management consulting industry at a company called BCG. Can you still
I
hear
can
me?
hear
Because
you.
you're like
Yeah, yeah.
cracking up. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. And I've been doing that now for, I'd say, just over 2 years. Before that, I studied chemical engineering at Imperial, which was a interesting time of my life, but super exciting time as well. And what makes me happy? Music, friends,
Love that.
and food.
Love that.
That's what
What's
I'd
your
say.
favorite dish?
It's a Nigerian dish called ayamashe, which some people also know as designer stew, but that is literally like
If
I
I
can
had
eat
to
every
think
day
about,
and I'm
yes,
fine.
something that wouldn't exist in my life if it wasn't for our friendship, it would be ayomate. Like, I had never heard of it. I had never tried
You're
it until, like, yeah, year
joking!
5, where I started going to your house and Tyler's house, and Auntie Nico would make the ayomate. And now I'm obsessed. Like, there's people that do it in my house. And also Tasties, if anyone's listening, they now do, like, ready meals in Sainsbury's, so you can get ayomate, you can get apple rero, and someone like me that doesn't, well,
A
FO Rero.
Ferrero?
Someone like that's a Brit like me, doesn't know how to cook it, doesn't live with my parents anymore. It's genuinely a blessing. So that would be my plug today.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to stop asking people how they are because I feel like people just say good and you don't really get much. So I want to know, what was the last thing that made you laugh, or what is something that made you laugh this week?
Ooh. I think the last thing that made me laugh was the thing I sent you like 30 minutes ago, which was the meme of that little boy that's like, rise and shine and give God the glory. No, because I genuinely woke up and I felt like that. And I think I sent to like 3 people. I was like, good morning.
No,
That
it's
was
great.
me.
If you haven't seen that video, just type in like Kenyan pastor, little kid, rise and shine, and it should come up. But glory, glory.
I
It will
give God
actually
the
make your day. Like,
glory.
it is hilarious. Yeah. And
It's
did
hilarious.
anything make you
It's
sad
hilarious.
this week? If you don't mind sharing.
Um, yeah, some things made me sad this week. Um, yeah, some things. I'm trying to think. I feel like a couple of things made me sad, but there was like one thing in particular, which made me
That's all
really sad.
good.
But
Well,
I
I
can't
hope
share.
it's all
But
right. But yeah. And did anything lastly,
yeah, it will be.
like surprising or unexpected happen this
Hmm. Oh, that's so hard. Honestly, I don't. Yeah, that's really hard. I can't think about something like that on the spot. But maybe like my friend, seeing my friends. So I saw my friend yesterday, who I haven't seen in so long, because she's moved over to the US. And I finally saw her. We went to uni together, and it was honestly so nice because like I literally didn't think I was going to see her before she left, but we managed to make the time, and it was perfect, and it was just such a beautiful evening. So like, kind of warmed my heart, but was also like a
That's great.
surprise, but
No,
not really a
that's
surprise.
really,
If that
really
makes sense.
good. So, just to get into the topic of today, we're going to be talking. I think one of your friends is commenting. Is this the one that's moved to America?
Yep.
I was going to say, I had no idea.
No, that's not the one.
um, but yeah, the topic today is busyness. And yeah, I just
Mm.
feel like even my mom's just joined, and every time she's called me recently, she's been like, "You're so busy, you're so busy," and I feel really busy a lot of the
Yeah.
time. And I'm not gonna say it's always a bad thing, but oh, thank you so much, Anissa. I'm not gonna say it's always like a bad thing, but sometimes I feel like I have to actively, you know, take time and actually like schedule time in to relax, which doesn't really sound relaxing, like having to schedule a relax. And I think I just find that the world just moves so quickly. So I just want to get your insights on this. Like, do you feel busy? The topic is busyness rather than business. Busy. You spelled the same word, but I get what you mean. So yeah, what do you feel about that? Just share your initial insight.
Yes, and yes, it is the act of being busy. I think it's such a big thing for me. I'm constantly always feeling like I'm busy. And I think that stems from a couple of things. First of all, is just work. So work really consumes a lot of my life, or at least I feel like it does, especially if I'm on a project. And in those moments, it's like I can never find time to do some of the other things that, you know, I want to do. And, you know, if I think about it in terms of percentages, like if I'm on a project, most of my life, I would say like 85% of my days are filled with work. And then 15% is like, okay, I can try and squeeze in some other things. So that's always a challenge for me. I think the second thing is also just like having such a busy social life, if that makes any sense. I think I'm someone who picks up a lot of people from all areas of, you know, life and the times that I've had. And, you know, I always want to try and stay connected with them. And I find it so difficult because, like, if you know me, if it's not in my calendar, it's not happening. So it's making sure that, you know, there's some friends that you need to make sure you're seeing regularly. There are other friends who understand and, you know, are okay with the distance. And then, you know, there's people who you really need to perform quick surgery on because that friendship is about to die. So I think the social element of it, as much as I love it, it can also feel very overwhelming. And then obviously you have your family, right? Who at any point in time can just come and give you a curveball and say, hi, we're going for this thing and you're going to be out for 3 days. You need to figure out what's going to happen. And, you know, it's always difficult because you don't want to disappoint your family and you don't want to be there for them. So I find that also really challenging. So it's juggling all of those things around and making time for yourself. Oh my gosh. It's so tough. And I think when I get overwhelmed, with the like everything just being so busy, I just shut down and I just don't do anything. I don't stop talking to anyone. I don't know if you can relate to that as well. But yeah, it's a real thing being busy
I can
in
definitely
today's
relate.
world.
I can definitely relate. You mentioned sort of three groups there, so career, friends, family. How do you sort of prioritize the different areas of your life? Like, if you can list out the sort of like split the areas of your life, could you prioritize them into a list?
It's tough. It's really tough. I mean, it's tough because I have what I would like versus what the reality is, right? And what I would like is to be able to wake up every day, read my Bible, say a prayer, journal a little bit. Then, you know, I would say 50% of my day is work. And then the other 50% I'm spending either, you know, catching up on stuff that I wanted to do myself or personal things that I'm working on or just making time for friends and family or call here and there. But in reality, it's like 70% of my time is work just because of the nature of the career and job I'm in where they just demand so much of your time. And it can be a good thing sometimes because you get really stuck. And I love what I do. I love like being able to uncover sort of analysis and, you know, get to know and learn new things. I love doing that. But I'm the kind of person that like when I get stuck into something, I kind of just go really deep. So even when I should be setting healthy boundaries with work, I just don't do it. And that's why like 75% of my day is work. And then, you know, I spend another 10% maybe just trying to find time to exercise or trying to find time to feed myself and other things. And then I have maybe I have like, what is that, 15% left? And I have to split that 15% between like God, my family, my friends, myself. And it's, yeah, it's really, really difficult. So
So what
I think the
what
reality
you actually
is not
want to do.
matching up to what
Yeah,
you'd
it
like.
is really hard. Like just what you said about 75% of your day. Because I also, for context, I didn't actually introduce myself. This is actually my platform. My name is Ife Ojomo. I'm 25 years old and I work as a solutions architect at Amazon Web Services. And well, it's actually a prototyping architect. So we'll go into different customers, different clients. We'll work with them for 4 to 6 weeks to ensure that they're more comfortable with the cloud. So initially, we will be sort of first 2 weeks, we'll be doing most of the coding and developing, and then we hope by the end of the prototype, they're more comfortable. They're the ones really taking it on. But that can mean that the first, say, like 1 to 3 weeks is like the most busy, and that's ideal. Really, you're busy up until the end and a bit after. And so if you go to Jesus House, we did a fast recently, and we had sessions every evening. I think like 8 to 9:30 or such. And my days were literally like waking up at 7 a.m. and then we're fasting as well, so I'm not even able to eat when I'm stressed. All the way to 8, tuning into prayer, and then going back to work. It was just a lot, and that was my whole of June. And it's just one of those things where you really wish you didn't have to do that. Like, I don't know if you ever think, am I doing the most? Like, is this actually necessary? Am I giving
Yep.
sort of too much to this job?
Yep.
But yeah, have you asked yourself that question before?
Oh my gosh, all the time, all the time. I think, especially when it comes to not being able to make time for God, I think that, and even saying that is so off. It's just so off. What do you mean? That should be the priority. If I know I've gone 2 weeks, I've not even sat down and had a little chit chat, with God, I find it hurts. Like, it just really hurts so much. And then I start questioning myself and like whether or not I should be doing this kind of job if it's taking so much of my time, and things like that. But then on the other hand, I always try and I think if you're someone that is big on planning and you can plan your day and you can plan your life and you can really be very vocal about this at work, and they always say this to us: if you have personal commitments, if you have things that you need to do, just communicate that. Let people know early so that they can work around you and work around your schedule. And I think that would probably be my first tip, if we're even doing tips, but that would probably be my first tip, is just over communicate all the things that you do and be vocal about like your life outside of work to an extent, right? And tell people, oh, for example, Wednesday after 7 o'clock, guys, please, I am not available. Or guys, by the way, in my spiritual life, I am fasting right now and it's really difficult for me. So if you experience a different side of me, this is why. Share that with people. Don't be scared to say that, right? And then they can work around you, and you find that people actually just are going through similar things at work. They have personal commitments, they have sports that they're doing, they have other things that they want to do, and they just want to be able to get their stuff done and not have to wait for you. So it's really important to just, really stress that, communicate that to people that you're working with, and plan yourself. Really plan yourself and stick to it, because I'm queen of planning. I love planning myself, and then I just don't do it.
Yeah, plans, right? They're great when you stick to them. But it's also good to just have like a sort of aim for the week. So I can definitely relate to that. And it's funny you should mention tips. So anyone who is watching right now, if you can relate, please comment. If you have any tips, comment, especially, if you're older, because we're at a stage where we're just trying to navigate, the early starts of our career, make headway so that, we can retire by 30 in Jesus' name. So if you have any tips
Yo,
to
there.
share, something you said that no, it's hilarious. Not hilarious, but it's so interesting to hear you say that you find it hard to make time for God. So again, for context, Irwanda and I have known each other since we were 9, been friends since we were 10. That's another story for another day. Some people don't realize what they have right in front of them. Bring your camera back down. But yeah, we've known each other for a very long time, and I would say you're someone that has definitely inspired me to make God a bit more of a priority. So I know when I was coming to your church for a bit, and how it's like you're doing too much. Like you're actually, these people aren't good. Like why? And the last time I went to church with you, we were there at 9 and we weren't home until 10 p.m. and I never went back with you because that is still ridiculous. But I never went back. But I was just like, you're doing so much for these people. And it actually did inspire me. I found it, so I know how you are for me, like there for me in my life, and I know I'm not your only friend. You know, again, another story for another day. You guys should be picking up best friends from anywhere. But and then I know you're there for your family. I know you're doing amazing at work. And I was just like, how does she find the time? And so at that stage where you were, you know, doing a lot at work, going to church from 9 a.m. to 10 every Sunday, how are you actually managing that? Like, how?
First of all, I wasn't going to church from 9 a.m. to 10 every Sunday. It wasn't like that. It was just certain Sundays. Maybe I double served that day. And that was last year, I would say it was, to be honest, it was overwhelming. It really was. And there would be some days where I'm coming home after church. And by the way, my church is like really far from where I live. And I'm just like, what? The day is gone. It's just gone, right? That's your week. And you know, because work is so busy from Monday to Friday, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday are just like really important days in the week now, because it's how you squeeze in, you know, seeing and making time for everything else outside of it. But sometimes I think about that time, because I know like that level, I don't have that level of commitment right now, just because of, you know, been traveling a lot and stuff. But I think about, you know, how I was just consistently going to church every week without fail. And I don't know. I think I was just in a very different space in my life right then. And like, I really saw how God was moving around me. And for me, it just inspired me to just continue to do, right? Because I felt like, you know, even for example, so at church, I'm an usher, and what we do is, you know, you kind of prepare the atmosphere, you set up for people to allow the Holy Spirit to come in and intervene and all of that great stuff. And it's awesome. I love doing it. You get to interact with people, get to talk to people, you get to really just like be on high alert with what's going on. And sometimes you don't even get to really be in the service like that. You don't really get to pay attention to work because you're thinking, okay, here, we need to do this, we need to do that, and stuff like that. But I think it was just seeing how God was moving in people I knew, or people that people around me, and seeing how their lives were changing, and seeing, you know, someone who came here 4 months ago and seeing where they are now. I was just so inspired by everything that it just sustained me to keep on going. And I think also like that little commitment, that little sacrifice from me was just one step closer to being more like Christ. And you know, obviously we have such a long way to go, but I just felt like, girl, just make that little effort, just make that little sacrifice, just do that little thing until it became a habit. And then it just was like, I just do this, you know, to the point where people, like, if I said when she came and she sees you and you're there till 10 o'clock, I'm like, oh, you just forget that, wow, this is actually your life now. And my friends even knew that Sunday, they just wouldn't even.
Yeah, sorry, you froze.
Are you still there? You froze.
I can hear you now.
Yeah. So I was saying, can you hear me? Yeah. I was saying that my friends even knew, like friends of mine who don't even go to church, they knew Sunday. They'd always be like, guys, don't plan anything on Sunday because she's not coming. And it was so great to see that people around me were also accepting of that fact. So yeah, I don't know if I've explained myself properly, but I would summarize by saying it was honestly just God and seeing how he was moving around me that just led me to continue to commit and give this little sacrifice of time, because it honestly, it was really small, but it felt like a lot in my life. And yeah, I think I'm so thankful that I went through that journey, because it really showed me what it meant to serve God, like what it really, really means to serve Christ in your church or wherever space that you're in.
Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing that. That's really amazing to hear. I will just say that Just from what I saw in that time, it wasn't just serving on Sundays. It was after the Wednesday sort of fellowship, dropping people home wherever they live, doing like an hour of drop-offs and things like that. As you said, it's a sacrifice, but the fact that I can still talk about that time and it inspired me, and like now I'm in a position where I'm not spending all my entire church, but I'm still serving a bit more. And I think that, don't underestimate the effect of what I guess putting God first can have on your life and those around you. And I want to get a bit more into that. But before I do, because you mentioned friends and friends understanding that, Sundays aren't her days. How do your friends sort of help you with this pressure? Do you firstly think that it's difficult for you to ask for help when you are overwhelmed?
I think that's so good. I think me personally, I do not communicate when I'm overwhelmed or when I'm feeling stressed. I'm just not a communicator. I'm team figure it out yourself, right? And it can be very toxic sometimes, because you don't have all the answers really. Or I'm team just pray about it. It's fine. Don't burden your friends, because the kind of friend I am is I want you to be able to feel like you can come and talk to me about anything, and then we will talk it out. So I want to be the listener, I want to be the helper, I want to be the person that intervenes and helps you where you can. And I think I'm so glad that I played that position in so many of my close friends' lives, because that's really what I love to do. But then when it's now my turn to talk, gets a little tacky, because I'm just kind of like, I just never wanted to be seen as weak or someone who didn't know or had their life together. I think because just for so long I was just that person. It's like, oh, she knows what she's doing, so I can just come here and I felt like, oh, if I was vulnerable or weak for a moment, then maybe they wouldn't feel like they can come and talk to me and depend on me for their own problems, which is so stupid. It's so stupid. But yeah, I think that was for a very long time I was like that. And I think it got to a point where, like I said before, I would just shut down. For example, if I will know, if she doesn't hear from me in 5-6 days, she knows that, are you okay? Are you okay? Because I will, we're in constant communication, even when I don't pick up a call, blah, 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 whatever. We're still in constant communication. But I would just shut down. I wouldn't talk to her. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. And that was just because the problems were just piling up and piling up and piling up, to the point where I wouldn't know what else to do. And I would just like enter the slump. And then after a couple of days, I'd come out of the slump. Hey guys, I'm back. But I think now what I'm learning is that, your friends, just as vulnerability is not a bad thing, and you can trust the people around you to take care of what you are giving them, right? And trust that the people you put around you can also give you solid advice. And so what I'm learning now is to really just like share with my friends consistently, right? If I'm going through something. So for example, the other day, I had a really bad case of sleep paralysis. I woke up, I was so scared, because I was hallucinating as well, and I didn't really know what was going on. And I remember I woke up straight away, and usually I would just be like, oh, whatever. But I texted my friend and I told her like, oh, I just woke up from a really bad case of sleep paralysis. I'm good, but I'm gonna pray about it, and stuff. And then after, the next day, just her checking in, are you okay? Is everything good? Stuff like that. It's so small, but it meant so much, just knowing that someone else out there knows this thing that I experience, or understands, or is aware of this thing that I'm going through. And so I just try to just communicate more consistently now. If, let's say, I'm having a tough time, I can just text Ife and say, girl, I'm going through it. Don't ask. Don't want to talk about it, but I'm going through it. And she's just aware of it, and she knows maybe she'll, I don't know, send a
Not
gift
you
or come
hinting.
over or plan something. And
I said, not you hinting.
that's my what? No, she knows what to do. So yeah, I'm just really, really, really in a season of friendships and really just depending on the people that God has blessed me with around me a lot. And I really encourage people to just do that. Like, and if you feel like you can't trust the people around you, just try. Share something small, see how they treat it, see how they react to it. If there's some, if you know, if they dismiss it or if they just don't pay any mind, then you know, okay, this is necessarily the person that I want to talk to, or maybe they're just going through a really bad day. But try it, see if it works, and then if they really cherish that thing, for example, right, someone just coming 2 months later and asking you, oh, how is that thing that you were dealing with before, is it still a problem? Are you still feeling that way? It will show you that they really, really cared about that small little thing that you
Yeah,
told them, and then you
definitely.
can trust them
Thank
with a
you
lot
for
more.
sharing. I'm feeling so vulnerable. I think one of the best things that you told me. So we were playing a game called, was it the Ant Cards or We're Not?
I just knew
So the
you were
Ant
gonna
Cards
bring
are
this
sort of like
up. I just knew
conversational
it.
cards that have prompts. I think I definitely recommend them. So they have like friendship edition, dating edition, family edition, and just like little prompts to ask people to inspire more conversation. And so we were playing that with another one of our best friends called Tayo. And Ayawande said that if we'll be talking about something and she'll ask me how something is, and I'll like really go into the detail, we'll go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then I'd be like, oh, so how are things with you? And then she'll say it, and I'll just be like, oh, well, that's good. And I think, as you said, because, well, you're so used to just being like, oh, yeah, this is what's happening, but it's fine. So because you say that, I don't think to delve deeper. I'm like, if she wanted to say more, she would have said more. And I think you probably do regret telling me that day, because now I'm like, no, but really, how is it? No, seriously, how's it going? But I think that you sharing that was honestly something that's so key. And I think when you've been friends for so long, it's so easy to just accept things as the way they are. But the thing is, realistically, we've both changed so much
Yeah.
from when we first started being friends, and we change more each and every day. And I think being able to adapt and thinking,
Yeah.
oh, they didn't used to be that sensitive, but now they are, is key to friendship, as I said. So yeah, thank you for that. And another question I wanted to ask you is, do you feel like at peace right now? Like, would you say you feel at peace?
Yeah, I think I'm getting there. I think I'm definitely getting there. Right now, I feel at peace with my friendships. Like, I feel very blessed for the people I have around me. Also with family, um, definitely, and work as well. Getting to a place where things are starting to make sense. I think there's other areas where I don't necessarily feel at peace. You know, just because I, yeah, I just things are a bit shaky, and I need to find that stability again. But I would say maybe just if I'm looking at the bigger picture, because
Yeah.
obviously you have days where you feel more at peace than others, but if I'm looking at the bigger picture, what that trajectory is, yes, definitely, I do feel a lot more at peace. I feel like I'm coming into my own personally. I feel like I'm doing the things I want to and I love, and I feel that I'm really enjoying life and what life is giving right now, the challenges, the problems. I'm loving just going through all of that to refine myself. So yeah, I do. Do
Do
you
I
feel
feel
that
at peace
right
right
now?
now? Honestly, I don't really feel much right now, and that's just because so much is happening. I feel like Roosevelt. I don't know if you can hear me.
Hello?
I'm on a project right now,
Yeah.
and to be honest with you, when I'm on a project, I kind of just detach a bit. It's a bit of like a dissociation, because it just feels like that's all I see um, for the next 6 weeks. I feel like fine. Like when people have asked how I am,
Yeah.
I say it's like I give it like a 6 to 8, 6 to 9. Like I don't feel nothing crazily bad is happening, but I'm honestly not doing a lot of reflection right now. It's just like each day kind of rolls into
Mm.
one. There was a time I think I was going out on the
Mm.
weekend. I like to go out, and I think it got to Wednesday, I think I had been out every day that weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it got to Wednesday of the next week, and I was like, oh, I haven't gone out in ages. Like, I need to go out. And then I looked at my pictures, and I was like, oh, you were out every day on the weekend. And because every day was just rolling into one, I was having fun and not even realizing that I was having fun, which is crazy to say. But I also haven't even stopped to be like, oh, are you sad right now? Are you good? I just say I feel fine, I feel good, but I also feel like life's just moving very fast and I'm doing a lot. And I'm trying to actively place more pauses. Like, I think the call we had the other day, that's probably the first time I've spoken to someone in a while, because my sister had traveled. So it's just little things like that, and it's more after having a call like that that I realize, oh wow, you're really just living. But yeah, yeah,
That's so real. I think that's so real, because I feel a lot of that in my life in general. I just always feel like I'm going through the motions. You just rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling, and you're sort of on autopilot. And I think it's okay sometimes, right, to have that time in your life, but I think it's kind of a warning sign where you need to just pause, like you said, and have a moment to reflect.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I will say that I'm very, very grateful to, it sounds so like vague, but I'm very grateful to God. So I do think that even when I feel like that, thank you, Design Coco 10. We'll get to that question next. But even when I feel like that, I pray to God, like, God, just sort of help me. Like, I try to really take that seek first scripture, well, and seek first, like, everything that I do. And I found that I love sleeping. Like, I actually love to sleep. But I found that I was waking up early, even though having slept at 2, waking up at like 7, feeling like I've slept like 10 hours, and then being able to have, an early start to work, do the things I needed to do, and actually feeling refreshed. And I generally feel like that was because I went to God with it, and I was still trying to seek Him first. So making sure you do have that quiet time. And I feel like God is God of everything, right? He's God of time. He can make a minute feel like 5 hours. There was even another time when I went out. I think I got back at 3 a.m. And we have these like early morning prayers at church on Sunday at 9 a.m. And I really wanted to go. And I was like, God, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I really want to make fresh fire tomorrow. I think I'm going back at like 4. And then I was like, I woke up at like 7. And I literally thought it was 11. I thought I had missed the whole church service, but it was 7 a.m. and I went to fresh fire. And I think, you could look at it away and be like, okay, but if I should really be out at 4 a.m. on a Saturday morning. On a Saturday, yeah, literally a Saturday, on a Sunday morning even. And, maybe
Sunday
not,
morning.
maybe it's not the wisest thing to do, but I think that God does meet you where you are. And, after I went through that, I was like, okay, thank you, God, for waking me up, but maybe I actually do need to prioritize this. Like, maybe I shouldn't be out at like 4 a.m. every Saturday, because at the end of the day, you do need rest. So
I think also, like,
yeah.
Are you there? Just to plug you, because Ifa is fantastic. She's been creating a lot of really helpful content about life. I think it's so funny. You probably don't even know this, but so many times when I'm overwhelmed, right? I always think about your Don't Stress, Just Do Something series. And for me, in those moments, right, the like 1 or 2 I really resonate with is like the bake one. Because I just think, maybe not baking, but I cook. I like cooking, and I find it so therapeutic. I find it such a great time to just like think and reflect. And it's 2 hours of just you doing something fun. So I find a really cool recipe that I've always wanted to make, and then I just make it. Another one is like this Don't Stress Just Spa. I think am I saying it right? Is that how you type it? Yeah.
We got a fan over here.
Just Spa. You got it. If she ain't a fan, then what is she? Then the don't stress, just spa one is also really key because when I'm overwhelmed and I just shut down, one thing I do first is always just like, okay, skincare, let's do it. Let's do an at-home facial. Let's go and have a body scrub. Let's go and pamper ourselves. And yeah, I don't necessarily go to the spa, but you can do your at-home spa. So that one's fantastic. And then obviously, don't stress, just pray, which is just always should be your first point of call. When I woke up the other day from my sleep paralysis, as I was texting my friend, I was like, okay, text my friend, but let me just go and pray so that I can sleep again. So that those series are actually really, really helpful and really key. And just a reminder that in those moments where everything is overwhelming and you're going through the motions and you just need a time to pause and reflect, these are the things that you can do. Did you do journal as well? You did journal, right?
Not. I did not.
You don't even know.
It was don't stress.
Oh, you did do journal.
It was don't stress. Bake. It was don't stress. Bar, and it was don't stress. Pray. Those were the four. But I did do another post about journal prompts. So things that you can do to sort of just reflect. So thinking about something in nature you appreciate. Thinking about something you didn't have like last year that you have now that you're grateful for. So things like that. And thank you so much for calling that out, because I think it's really important to just know the things that sort of energize you or keep you going, or the side of go-tos. Like I know that once I've had a stressful day at work, once I put on my headphones and go to my bathroom, I can end up singing for 3 hours, and it just take me away from everything. And I think that my go-to.
What's your go-to song?
You know, I don't really have a go-to song. I say my go-to area is musical theatre. So, you know, we're going to belt a little bit of Dreamgirls.
Yeah.
We're going to sing a bit of Mamma Mia. we're going to do that. And I think, just knowing what makes you happy is how you can sort of find bits of escapism when life is moving so fast, when you feel like you're on autopilot. So thank you for reminding me of that series. I'm probably going to rewatch it. But I want to get to the question by design. I'm so sorry, Design Coco 10. If you could say like your actual name so I could call it, that would be amazing. But the question is, how do you both deal with your lives and social media? Do you feel you compromise any parts? So I can throw that to you, I wonder.
How do you say it again? Sorry. How do you deal with your life and social media? Do you feel like you compromise any part?
Social media. Do you feel you compromise any part?
It's an interesting question. It's a very I think social media honestly takes too much space. It really does. It really does. There are two things in my life that actually take too much space: social media and TV. And I really need to just try and cut those things down because they add no value to me personally. Like I don't know who I was talking to the other day about rest and how, you know, let's say I have time off and I want to just chill out. I can watch Netflix for 4 or 5 hours and I will feel like I have not rested. I still feel on edge. But if I go for an hour walk or if I read a book or something, my body feels relaxed. I feel replenished. I feel as if I'm ready to take on whatever next challenge there is. So the social media thing, for me, I never thought it was a big deal because I wasn't someone that got onto Snapchat. Twitter, I loosely use. But now with Instagram and TikTok, I think that's where we're getting into the danger zone, because I don't know, I just like seeing what people are doing on Instagram. I think it's really cute. I love when people create really fun stories. I love to respond to it. Oh my God, hi. Also, Instagram for me is another way of keeping up with friends that I don't necessarily text every day. So I know if I completely shut that down, there's some people I won't talk to for a very long time. So that's kind of why. And then obviously TikTok, there's so many things on there that I'm like, I relate to. And then you find yourself on there for 3 hours. So definitely, I think social media eats into a lot of what could be God's time, what should be God's time. And that's something I'm very, very much aware of. When I see my screen time is going up, get a bit frightened. And even, yeah, it's like I said, it adds no value. So I think I'm just trying to get to a point where I'm not a fan of, do a cleanse, do a cut. I really don't like those things. If she's done it, there's loads of people that, they've done it. I'm sure it worked for you for that time, but whatever, who knows? I don't like those kind of things. Because I just feel like, why should something have that much hold over you? Just don't go on. So I have little rules, for example, when I'm working Monday to Friday. Before 1 o'clock, I try not to go on Instagram, try not to go on TikTok during the week. And sometimes it can extend to 3 o'clock. Sometimes when I'm at work, I just turn off my phone. And then it's so funny because I put on my phone at 7 o'clock and I realize, oh, you didn't miss anything. You did not miss a thing. Or I haven't gone on Instagram for 48 hours. Life still moves on. Like, you can still text the people that you want to text. So creating little habits for me with social media and sort of not restriction but boundaries with your social media is very important. And I think I was listening to a podcast the other day, and someone was talking about how, how you can really reach people with your music or whatever you're doing, because the first thing that people do when they wake up is pick up their phone. And I thought to myself, that's crazy. That's not true. The guy was like, if you really want to reach people, wake up every day, post something at like 7 a.m. And trust me, if you do that consistently, you're following a girl, something like that. He was like, because people, that's the first thing they do. Before they even say, let me get up, they pick up their phones. And I was like, that is so wild. But I know that I do that. Like, I roll over and I'll be like, let me just see. And I just thought to myself, now we in the danger zone, honey. We in the danger zone. So, yeah, definitely trying to have
three things
Sorry.
on that point. So you mentioned I did a cleanse. I actually didn't do a cleanse. I read a book called How to Break Up with Your Phone. It's an amazing book. I definitely recommend it. And one of the first steps to do is to do an audit. So they say spend time on your phone how you do it normally, and then at the end, like, look at your screen time or have a tracking app. And I found I was spending, like, the screen time was 8 hours a day. That's more than I sleep. Like, that's not normal. Imagine me saying, oh, I don't have time to wake up and read the Bible for half an hour. I don't have time when I was living at home to clean the kitchen. That's what I was telling my mom. I don't have time. I'm so busy at work. I'm so stressed. But meanwhile, I'm picking up my phone 8 hours. And of course, it's not like you grab your phone and you're there for 8 hours. It's the pickup when you wake up. It's the pickup when you're going to the toilet at work. You don't need your phone with you. Like, we are so attached to our phones that we don't even realize. Like, what would you do with 8 more hours in your day? So those were the sort of questions I had to ask myself. And there are little things you can do. I have to reread that book because you'll be so surprised at how old habits stick up again. But like, leaving your room leaving your phone in a different room to the one that you sleep in, or keeping it away, like putting it high in your cupboard when you're working, little things like that. Because I don't actually think we want to use our phones as much as we do, but it's just so habitual. And so it's basically introducing more pause in what you do, basically. And then in the social media piece, like, it's a hard one. I think that we sort of grew up with it. Like, we grew up with the Bebos, the Facebooks, the TikToks. So as Ayomande said, it's like,
yeah,
it's a way of entertainment. It's also a way of keeping up with people, and it definitely does have its benefits. But I do think that a huge disadvantage is how much of a distraction it can be. I don't tend to like. I don't think I'm influenced that much on what I see on social media, to be honest. Like, I don't think I see something and I'm like, oh, I need to buy that, or I feel like I see people living big lives and I'm like, oh, I need to do this thing so I can get this. But that's just not really the way I view life. Like, I will say it does have those disadvantages. And in terms of compromising, it's a tough one. So I know I've had some situations with like aunties from church or like my mum's friends who will send her my posts and be like, your daughter's wearing. I mean, some of the my mum has seen it and not had a problem with it until someone put it up to her. And
Yeah.
so I do try and like take it on board. I started to, for example, ask, is this actually okay? Or is it revealing? Thinking more about why I'm posting something. But I will be just honest and say, I just don't think that I look at things the way that some of the like older generation does. Like I can see a picture of a girl wearing like a skirt that may be a bit short, and in my head I'm not thinking, oh, like she wants all the boys to look at her legs, because I don't think that she's thinking that. Like I just think that certain trends are in sometimes and certain trends aren't. I'm not naive to the fact that there may be people with like malintentions looking at certain pictures, and so I think that's why I try keep myself accountable with like my older friends who are more like 30 and 35, and I started to sort of just ask for their opinion and stuff like that. But yeah, while I think that some of my posts may upset a certain generation, I think that I have to sort of weigh up, is God okay with this? Am I okay with this? Am I not posting because an auntie's going to send it to my mum? And I don't think the latter is a reason not to post if I'm honest. And that's what I try to be on my social media honest. So while I have Don't Stress Praying, I may also have Just Dance, and it's just me dancing with my friends. I'm not gonna try and hide certain bits to appear a certain way. And that's just being honest.
Agreed. Agreed. I think the one thing that came to my mind when you said that, how you see things happening, or you see things on social media and you're not influenced, is with TikTok and and Instagram with Christian influencers. And it's good. I think it's amazing what people are doing and how people can openly speak about God and Christ and share, and I love it. But I think I'm someone who feels that sometimes it can feel overwhelming for me. So it can feel overwhelming because it's like a reminder that, oh, your relationship with Christ compared to this 21-year-old girl who is always on her Zoom. She is always reading her Bible. She's created her Bible study area and this, that. And, it, instead of it being inspiring, it kind of just turns into a weird thing where I start to look internally at myself and I start thinking, oh gosh, I'm not a good enough Christian. And then I'm like, oh, well, it is what it is. But I think in those moments, I really just try and like flip it and say, you know what, this is wonderful. The reason why it's there, it's to inspire you, it's to show you that, you too can do it in your own way. Let it work for you. Can you hear me? Try and make it work for you in your own way. And everyone has different sort of things that they're balancing, right? So instead of you getting feeling overwhelmed and feeling like I have to now completely try and re-alter my life so that I can be doing similar things that this person is doing, is just saying, what little habits can I pick up from this person? It's the same thing with wanting to be I don't know what they call it, like 6 to 8 girly or whatever. The girlies that wake up at 6 a.m. and they are so productive and they do so much before work. I was so overwhelmed and I thought to myself, I also want to be a 6 a.m. girly. I also want to wake up and do my journal and Bible and And I just realized, like, my life does not allow me to do that. I can't do that. When you're going to bed at 2 in the morning, I can't wake up at 6 o'clock, go to the gym, come back, do that. But maybe I can try and do an evening time because I'm more of an evening person. So just before I go to bed, I can try and implement some of these tips that they're giving you. So yeah, it's all well and good where people share, but just be careful of how you're internalizing what you're seeing, and try and just make sure you're not just like trying to copy and paste, like if I said, someone else's big life into your life. Just be realistic about the life that you are living and know what it is that you can and cannot do. And that's okay. If you want to be a content creator, but you live in a box, like, make do of the box that you have. Okay, don't be feeling like I can't do this content creation thing because I live in a box. It's okay. Start from somewhere and see how it goes.
That's a great point. I generally love that point because I think that that's very true. I think while I said that I don't sort of aspire to this life, it is you can kind of think, okay, I'm not productive if I want to be my bed by like 8 p.m. versus 6 a.m. But like, if that works for you, if that's the way that you can navigate, you know, everything, then that's works for you. And 8 p.m. in the UK is 6 a.m. somewhere else. So you can be productive in China, like, at the end of the day.
Girl!
I wanted to ask, I think I paused the Swiss and want to go back to just while we're finishing off, what do you do when you don't feel at peace? So you kind of said that overall you feel at peace sometimes, but there are like elements that you don't. And what do you do when you don't feel at peace?
I think the first one that has been working for me a lot lately is just writing my dreams and plans down, as big and as loud as I want them to be. I just put them in my journal and I remind myself, you know, these are the 2 to 3 things that you really want to do in the next couple of years, right? And you inspire yourself again, right? And you think, wow, okay, this is cool, this is exciting, this is fun. Let me try and reset and work towards that. So that's definitely really a big one. I think the second one is also just to talk with people that you trust, people that you can have these kind of conversations with. I have, you know, a friend of mine, shout out to her, who I just find her so inspiring. She juggles her job with her side hustle, with just being able to be there for other people in her life. And every time we sit down and talk, we really just delve into different areas of life and, you know, start to talk about things that are not going well, things that are going well. And she's just such a good sparring partner for that. So go and have those conversations. And I think a final one is definitely like the spiritual element of it as well. I think I'm always inspired after, you know, I listen to a sermon or I watch a sermon series on something that I'm going through that's similar. And like, even just opening your Bible, sometimes you actually don't even need to go and watch a sermon series. You don't need a pastor to come and be telling you. Just open the book, right? Google scriptures that talk about peace, or scriptures that talk about direction, and just start there and just like think about how you're feeling about what you've just read. What is God trying to tell you in this thing here? And really just take time to pause and reflect on it. And how do I fit into what I'm reading right now? Where does the issues and the struggles I'm facing fit into this? And then if you need guidance, you can then find the sermon series on peace and whatever. But really just opening the book and starting from there is so key. And it really unlocks so much of just the problems and the questions in life that you might have in that time. And it just gives you a lot of peace, really. I think fundamentally the only thing that really gives me a lot of peace is the Bible. Yeah. Like, it is. Because I just think to myself, okay, there is an answer. Like, this too shall pass. Or, you know, he gives you peace that surpasses all understanding. You just think about all of those scriptures and you're just like, okay, it's actually okay. God is here in all of this mix and all of the nonsense and the chaos. He's actually there. So why am I having to go and find other ways to just find peace when I can just be still and open my Bible and start from there?
Thank you.
Yeah, that really is number one.
Thanks so much for that. 2 final questions before we go on to Anti-Funke, because I think that's a big one. But Anti-Funke asked a question, which I will reveal in about 5 minutes. But do you feel pressure coming from any area of your life? So whether that's family, career?
Yeah, oh my gosh, everywhere. It's like shots. There's so much pressure on the different parts of life. I think I also put a lot of pressure on myself. I think we do, because you want to be successful in everything that you do, right, you want to live a life of impact and have influence in what you're doing. So that waking up and feeling like you're not living that sometimes is just like, ugh. It's like I'm giving myself the ick. But genuinely, yeah, I do feel the pressure. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, yes, there's pressure from everything, but I think the most pressure I get from myself, just expectations. This is where you want to be, and right now you're living here, and it's just like, how do I close that gap, or how do I just sort of make my expectations of myself more real? Like, relax. You're actually only 25. It's okay if you don't have X amount saved in your bank account. It's okay if you're not going to be on the property ladder in the next 5 years. It's okay if you're not in a relationship. It's okay if your spiritual life has taken a turn right now. It's fine, right? It doesn't take away from the bigger picture of where you're going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. It's just how life happens. It's a series of ups and downs, and you just need to manage that time. So be realistic with yourself. If you need time to just be still and not be doing a lot, right? That's fine as well. Have those seasons where you're just in your reflection bag and you're really just focusing on you. You don't really have time for your friends. It's all that. It's fine. Just be honest with yourself. And pressure that comes from other people, family, friends, all of that kind of stuff. I think it's just maybe just being real with them of who it is that you are, because I think the family one sometimes can be really difficult because your parents, it's like they see you a certain way, and you sometimes need to, there's a saying my friend and I always say, it's not a saying, but it's like you have to change it for them. You have to show them that, hey, this is me right now, okay? Love me as I am right now. All this expectation that you have of me, right? Relax. Relax, okay? And let me just slowly, I have a plan. Trust in me and trust in, how you have raised me, and let me slowly live out my own life. And then I think people, instead of putting pressure on you, they just become more of the safety net, security net that you need when you're overwhelmed. And I just think that, like, yeah, people just forget that it's not like I don't. For example, you think of people who your parents might be saying, "Oh, you're not doing anything, you're not doing much." It's not. They are very aware of it. We are all aware of it. We put pressure on ourselves as well. Like, you don't need to continue to hammer this in my ear. I know. So that's actually a word to parents. Like, y'all need to chill a little bit, just a little bit. It's okay. Like, people also put pressure on themselves. Just be there and be.
My sister once said to my mom, "Reduce your expectations to 0."
So true. So it's so funny, and the one point I want to make is hilarious. My friend and her mom were having a little thing, and her mom kept on telling her, like, the amount of time that you're spending going out, how come you're not spending this amount of time with God? And she was just like, girl, you have crossed the line right there. And I just think, why would you say that? Don't you think she's aware of it? Or maybe do you think that she's going through something? So, like, some parents, I don't even know, they just like to poke until, you cause a problem.
And then my final question, because I wanted to marry the two together. If all jobs paid the same, do you think you'd still be doing what you're doing now? Oh, wow.
Yes, I wouldn't. This is not a long-term thing. It is more of, I'm building skills, I'm building a network, I'm learning structure such that eventually when I move on to do the thing that I want to do, I have that foundation. So I like it, even when it's tough, even when it's painful, it's just overwhelming. I know, I think I say this too much, but the bigger picture, guys, like, that's really it. It's the bigger picture. And you have to remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing in this season of, struggle and hardship. That's not the right word. And there's elements of my job that I absolutely love as well that make me happy. So yeah, I would still do it in now. I just wouldn't
No,
do
that
it
is
maybe
honestly
long
amazing
term.
to hear. Because I think that a lot of young people can find themselves in jobs that they're doing just for the money, for example. And I think when you're in a stage where you are feeling pressure and you don't even have that bit of enjoyment, it's going to feel very different from when you're feeling pressure for something that you do enjoy. And so that's why I wanted to marry the two things together,
Yeah.
because I'm on my third job in about 3-4 years. When I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah.
I just
Shout out.
leave. And when I was in the jobs that I didn't like, my friends would always be like, how are you having the time to like call me during the day, like all the time? Like, do you not work? Like, do you not work? You're calling me at 2 p.m. Like, do you not have a job? And I feel like because I wasn't really committed to them. Even though I was feeling pressure from them, I wasn't really like allow myself to be bothered by the pressure, because I was at a stage where if the worst came to worse and I did, get asked to leave, I wouldn't really care. And I think to that position, I myself take myself out, because I don't want to be in a position where I'm getting fired, for example. But I also think it's a very clear indicator that I'm not doing what I love. And so while I feel a lot of pressure for my job right now, I love it. Like, I would never work on a Saturday for a job that I didn't like. And I think that while we do feel pressure
No.
from different areas of our lives, whether this is church or family or friends or work, I feel like when there is that enjoyment there, when there is that passion there, and it's not sort of going against your own self or your own spirit, that's when the pressure will not allow you to break, essentially, because you will feel pressure, but pressure should not be causing you to break. And if it is, then I think it's an indicator that the situation isn't right for you. And on your point of what your friend's mum said to her, I think that you have to sort of separate saying the right thing and how you say it. And at the end of the day, sometimes we do need someone to come and be like, you're, spending all your time in the club, but when it comes to praying, you're saying you don't have time. But there are ways that you can say things, ways that you can say that are more
Yeah.
encouraging, and there are
I
ways that you
agree.
can say things that are just going to make people feel bad about themselves. And I think that, yeah, that would just be a tip, because sometimes you do need to hear the truth, but it's
So
how you
good.
say it. And I spoke about
Yeah.
the sort of auntie saying things to my mum. One time I posted something and Funke called me directly, and I really appreciated that. So Auntie Funke is the owner of Hangout Cafe. Everyone else will know who she is above
Oh,
me.
okay.
And I really appreciated that, because it came a lot more from love than sort of a trying to catch you out and send to your mum. I think that's a note that I will say. Just ensure that when you're correcting people, it's coming from the right place. So now
Yeah.
to
So good.
um, okay, I'll do this one first. So how should the mom have said it? Maybe she's genuinely worried about her daughter. I would start, like, I one day said maybe the daughter's going through something. So I would sort of start with, how are you? Like, I've noticed you've been spending a lot of time out the house. Like, is everything okay? Are you escaping from anything? So you sort of
Yeah.
start, like, with them knowing that you have their best interests at heart. And then you can be like, I know that sometimes you may find that it's hard to go to church, but once you put God first, everything else will everything else will, sort of arrange itself, or he'll be able to make things arrange itself. You won't feel like you're going out all the time to escape. And we've just said the same thing there, but in very different ways. One's confrontational,
Yeah.
and one's just more encouraging. So that's, and then,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I just to add on that, I think definitely it came from a place of love. It came from a place of worry. Like if I said, it was just maybe the auntie had tried 1 or 2 times to try and have that conversation, and then she felt like it's falling on deaf ears. So, and then you get irritated, right? Because you're trying to talk to someone, trying to explain something to someone, and then you just kind of say things. And I think, like, maybe if you notice a behavioral change, you notice maybe patterns are developing, just pull your child aside, like be like, oh, let's do something cute today. How about we just hang out? Let's have a mommy daughter day. Let's do something fun. And in that moment where you have that person alone. They will feel more comfortable that they can share. They'll feel more comfortable that they can talk about it. And really and truly, I think the person wasn't. It wasn't even like, oh, I'm doing. It was just more of, oh, there's something I'm working on, or there's something I'm doing that's causing me to be out so much, right? And if the auntie or the person had just asked, then, she would get the answer. But, so yeah, I think I recommend just like planning a cute thing, like have a day or let's have dinner together at home. That's something me and my dad always do. Like, if we haven't spoken for a long time, if he wants to just reconnect again, he'll just message and be like, okay, 7:30 dinner. I'm like, got you. And then we sit down and we just really talk and catch up on
so
life.
This will be the last question we take today, but is it true that a lot of young people are leaving church? So I'll let you answer. Church.
Leaving what? Church. Is it true that a lot of young people are leaving church? Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know, because like, maybe I'm not in a church similar to like you, where you grew up there and stuff, but I go to a church where there's a lot of young people, and there's a lot of young people coming in. And I've been to churches like that where you see a lot of young people. The average age is probably like, I don't know, 25 or something. So I wouldn't say that's necessarily my reality right now, and I don't know if I'm the best person to speak on it, but I would say maybe a lot of young people are leaving like their home churches where they grew up, right? Just because the environment isn't necessarily, they feel like the environment isn't necessarily catered for them, or is a space where you're in touch with like what's going on right now in the world, right? Sometimes you listen to a sermon and it's really husbands and wives. Like, I ain't got a boyfriend. Like, I don't even have anyone, And like, that's great because you're speaking to a certain group of people, but it's like you're now neglecting, the young people and what they're going through and the realities that they face. So it's like, okay, I'm just gonna bounce from this church and go to a church where, it's more focused around that. So I would say my thing with a family churches, like, they're great, they're wonderful, but you can't just focus on one group, like the adults and not even adults, but like the married couples. Like, also have a singles fellowship, also have a preparation for university kind of fellowship, also have like a teens group, and have people that can relate. Don't bring 50-60-year-old people to come and be talking to the teens. I don't know, like, that thing sometimes just doesn't work. Bring like an Ife who was a teen like 10 years ago to come and chat with them and come and relate to them, and maybe they'll now feel like, actually, this is a great place and this is a great space. And also, this is the last thing I want to make sure, this thing is just really strong on my heart, but like, people change. People actually change. And I think that's what sometimes people struggle with like family churches. Like, I've grown up, you've seen a different side of me. So you know me as a different person, but now I've evolved to be this person. And I think sometimes like the adults in the church are like, ooh, like, why is this person behaving like this? It's like, please allow space for people to grow up and change and just become who they are meant to become, instead of like being not judgmental, but just like,
yeah. That's a great point. I
That's
think, I do go to a family church, and a lot of people that I grew up.
There's a bee in my room.
I want it. That's okay. Just mute yourself, please.
I'm moving.
Yeah, just mute yourself, please. On the screen. Sorry about that. I was saying that I go to a family church, and a lot of the people that I grew up with aren't there anymore. Like, which is definitely true. I did try and go to younger churches, so like Iwande's church, I tried for a bit, and churches with a younger population, but it just wasn't for me. I think I really like church for being able to see, the aunties I've mentioned, or like even see like the elder population. Like, there's this lady with the tambourine, and every time I see her in church, it generally fills me with joy. So I do like a family church, but I would say that it's like there's a community up to 18, and then you go to uni, you come back, and it seems to have like decreased a bit. And then from about 40, it's like there's a bigger population there. I feel like my particular church does, you know, try to engage us, and there have been like new organizations that have started for the 21 to 35-year-olds. But yeah, I will say that a lot of people have left, and probably for a plethora of reasons. Some, I don't know if I want to think that our generation is getting a bit more spiritual and a bit less churchy. So like all these, yeah, it's not my realm, but worshiping different things other than God, or like yourself first, like manifestation and that kind of thing. So I think that is like context external to churches, but I also think that within the church, I guess a bit more understanding. I'm not entirely sure. I can just say what I see, but I don't know exactly how it is. But another thing I noticed that friends I was thinking about, out of the young people you mentioned, 90% are women. Like I think 21 to let's say 35. It's like I could name you 5 men right now, and the rest are women, and that's just something I've noticed. Why they've gone, I don't know. That they've gone. Yeah, that was it.
Hello?
I don't have this. Okay, so this has been really, really amazing. Thank you so much, Ayolande, for your vulnerability. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for comments and questions. It's really interesting. And thank you for being on the platform. Always a pleasure to be back. Any closing comments, Ayolande? Yeah.
No, this was really fun. Can you hear me? This was really fun. Thank you for having me on. I just, yeah, hope that people were inspired by what we shared today, and like, yeah, shout out to your auntie for having this platform, because it's really good. And it's really nice to just like create a space where people can just come and talk and share. And yeah, shout out to the aunties and uncles. Y'all are great. Y'all are amazing. Don't be too hard on yourselves. You guys are doing great. And thank you, Ife, for being a lovely host.
Thank you. He's all right. Okay. How do you just leave? Just gonna. Yeah, we'll come back.
So. Bye.